awakened to smoke in the house. We called 911, threw on our coats, gathered our most precious possessions, our 2 golden retrievers, and headed out the front door. Just as Kurt and fellow firefighters from Station 663 were headed in. We got lucky. It was normally an overheated furnace motor. But Kurt and his crew had no idea what they were going to find when they went in. To us, it epitomized what Kurt and the first responders do every day, head into danger to protect us all. Kurt has devoted his life to serving the people of Voorhees. For almost 20 years, he has risen through the ranks from firefighter to his current position in charge of administering firefighters and officers at Station 663, as well as Fire and Ground Command operations. As if this weren't enough, he also has a day job as a principal in charge of national sales for Covexco, a corporate printing company. Kurt is also on the board of trustees for the Ronald McDonald House of Southern New Jersey and has served as the executive vice chairman for the past 2 years. I think Kurt would tell you his most important job is husband to his wife Betty and father to his 2 children, Eric and Anya. So why does someone with an obviously already full professional family life commit themselves to service to the community, to protecting his fellow citizens as passionately as Kurt? I'll let him tell you why. All I know is on that cold winter night, and on many others, I'm very thankful that Voorhees has Kurt and the firefighters like him heading in the door. Please welcome our 2013 First Responder recipient, Kurt Nagel.
Hello, everybody. Tried to memorize this, but I turned 50 this year and I have a lot of problems remembering what I had for breakfast. I need to get cheater glasses as well so I can see what I'm reading. First of all, I'd just take this moment to thank Penny for those kind words. When we spoke about 2 weeks ago, she had asked me if I remembered the first time we met, and unfortunately I didn't. We had mutual friends that lived next door to us, and kind of thought that's where we met, but I should have remembered her tonight again. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the Voorhees Breakfast Rotary Club for this wonderful honor. I'm truly appreciative of it. I need to thank the Voorhees Fire District for giving me the opportunity to volunteer and serve the residents of Voorhees for the past 20 years. I'd like to thank all my friends that are here this evening. They have experienced firsthand us being together, experienced the first or a game getting ready to start, having dinner, and sure enough, there goes the pager, and out the door I go. At this point, I was hoping that on cue the pager would go off so the boys would have to run out the door, but they went out earlier tonight. I'd like to thank my business partner Harry. He's always afforded me that extra cup of coffee in the morning. After those long and sometimes sleepless nights before we dove into the business of the day. I'd like to thank my sister Kim for making the effort to carve out some time of her busy schedule to come down today and be a part of this special day for me. I am truly blessed to have the best sister in the world. But most importantly, I want to thank my family. My son Eric, my daughter Anya, and my wonderful wife of 24 years, Betty. Without your support, I certainly wouldn't be up here today. And for that, I can't express how much I love each of you. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but my dad told me that it's okay for a guy to cry if he wants to. I think I'm secure enough with that. I'm truly humbled and honored to receive this award. And as my brother firefighters are in the room tonight, they'll attest to this, that we don't do what we do for pats on the back or to receive awards. Although I must add that this is an awesome add-on, thank you. But it's all about service to the community. And the gentlemen that are here, in their uniforms tonight, and others that aren't, again, they make sacrifices just like I do. And again, please, remember the firemen out there, because in the middle of the night they are running out to assist you. My parents always led by example. Mom and Dad were involved in a lot of different organizations in Mount Olive Township where I grew up. And I guess their service always started out as most parents do. They were trying to be able to be involved in what Kim and I were doing, and spending extra time with us. Their service continued with their organizations long after Kim and I went to college. And what really was special to me was that it showed me that communities can't survive or thrive without volunteers. I've always joked that the V in Voorhees stood for volunteer. I never ever realized that people actually recognize the things that you're doing when you're out and about in town. And obviously tonight you did. Thank you. At a recent Sunday when I was leaving church, my pastor, Jeff Bills, made a comment to me that I certainly had the service aspect of being a Christian under control. Kind of took me by surprise, but put a smile on my face, because everything that I've set out to do certainly is not to be recognized for it. It's for the betterment of the community. Since I've been nominated for this award, there's been a number of people that asked me why I became a volunteer firefighter. So if you would please indulge me with my story. As most little boys, I grew up wanting to be a fireman. Unlike most little boys, I was fortunate. I had a dad that was a firefighter for the FDNY in New York City. He served 27 years in the South Bronx, and I had the opportunity to be a part of the fire service from the day I was born. Got to put the cheater glasses on, I apologize. How many little boys get to go to work with their dad, ride in the front seat of a fire truck, going on fire calls, even getting a chance to talk on the radio to a real live FDNY dispatcher? Pretty cool stuff, even though I do say so myself. I knew what I wanted to be from the time I was really little. My dad loved his job. For 27 years, he was never sick a day in his career, never missed work for inclement weather. The only time he ever missed work was when he was injured because of an injury sustained on a fire ground. And even that was few and far between, because if he was able, he went to work. For someone to love their job that much, it must be a great job. I wanted to be, just like my dad. So, my plans were set. I was going to be a fireman in New York City. I used to always ask my dad to tell me stories when he came home, but he wasn't a bragger. He just would tell me, it was just a busy day. Their fire company, his ladder company did 3,500 to 4,000 calls a year. Most of them were fires. But he never bragged about the rescues he made or the fires he fought. But with persistence and a little nagging, he would certainly tell me some great stories. The only thing my dad ever said that wasn't positive about his job was that he wished that the pay was better. He said it was very tough for him to live paycheck to paycheck. But you know what? I was willing to make that sacrifice for the financial end of things in lieu of excitement. Being able to ride in a fire truck every day, lights and sirens blasting and screaming as you go down the street, I was willing to go for that. I wanted to be in a New York City environment. All my plans came to a screeching halt when I was a young teenager. My mom received a phone call that my dad had been seriously injured in a commercial oven fire. that we were to get to the hospital as soon as possible. We later learned that the FDNY radios were reporting that 3 firefighters were killed in that explosion, one being my dad. Fortunately, the reports were premature, and he was okay. My mom, my Uncle Warren, who also was an FDNY firefighter, and myself arrived at the burn center in New York City and was directed to my dad's room to find him with severe second-degree burns to his face. My dad was a unique man. He looked at me and motioned me over, grabbed my hands, and his words of wisdom to me were, "You're going to study, you're going to college, you're not going to be a fireman." So when your dad's your hero, it's easy to say yes, sir, and you do as he asked. Fortunately for my dad, after 9 months of, believe it or not, using an over-the-counter ointment prescribed by his physician, he went back to work at Ladder 29. And everything was good for him. For me, my path changed a little bit. I finished high school, went to Muhlenberg College, graduated in 1985, and I moved to the Voorhees area shortly thereafter and started my career in corporate printing. I'm happy to say that's what I'm still doing today. Even after moving down to Voorhees, I did go up to the South Bronx occasionally, just to ride with the guys at Ladder 29. I guess you could say I was living vicariously through my dad. I know it usually goes the other way, but it certainly was important for me to be like him. After settling into our house in August of 1993, and my son Eric being born in 1994, I still had that yearning to be a firefighter. I needed to be a firefighter. I love my day job, so I figured, let me try being a volunteer firefighter. Now my dilemma. How do you break a promise you made to your father? I figured the only way to handle it was a direct approach. So I called them up, had my mom and dad come down to my house, and I laid it on the line to them. I said, "Dad, I have done everything you've asked me. I've kept my promise to you. I need to find out for myself if this firefighting thing was for me. I cannot live with regrets. Can I please have your blessing?" When a big smile lit up his face, I knew everything would be okay. He hugged me and told me that he's proud of me and he wanted me to go and do this and to make sure I went and learned everything I possibly could, make sure I stayed safe at all times, and to remember that I had a wife and a son I had to come home to every single night. So, at 30 years old, I went to fire school. It's like an early midlife crisis, I'm not really sure. But I didn't care. You know, there was some of the young kids that are 18 years old at fire school called me Pops. I guess conceivably I was a dinosaur to an 18-year-old at that time. But I didn't care. I was fulfilling my childhood dream. Unfortunately, my dad passed away suddenly in December 1995 at 61 years of age. Way too young for someone that was so full of life. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about him. I know today that he is looking down on me with that great big smile. And all of you guys that know my dad, you know that smile. And he is as proud as any father could be of his son. Rusty, as my friends call him, you're a great dad. You're my best friend. You're my hero. You and Mom taught me how to be the man I am today. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And again, I'd like to thank everyone from the Breakfast Rotary Club. Thank you for this award. It truly means so much to me, and I will cherish it forever. Thank you.